الحضور الكرام، ضيوفنا الأشقاء من فلسطين، أسعد الله صباحكم بكل خير. نرحب بكم اليوم أجمل ترحيب في ندوتنا الرابعة المكتبة كمحرك للتغيير، والتي تعقدها المؤسسة للعام الرابع على التوالي للاطلاع على التجارب العالمية التي نقلت مفهوم المكتبة من مكان للقراءة إلى محرك حقيقي للتغيير. وقد ارتأينا هذا العام توسيع قاعدة الفئة المستفيدة من الحضور من مكتبات الأطفال والمدارس والمكتبات الجامعية وطلبة علم المكتبات والمعلومات الذين سيتابعون مسيرة النهضة في هذا القطاع خلال الأعوام القادمة بإذن الله. الحضور الكرام، رحبوا معي بالسيدة فالنتينا قسيسية، الرئيسة التنفيذية لمؤسسة عبد الحميد شومان.
صباح الخير. أنا بحب أرحب وأشكر كل حدا شاركنا اليوم هاي الفعالية، باعتباركم أنكم كلكم بتآمنوا باللي إحنا بنآمن فيه، إنه هي المكتبة مش بس موقع للناس أو الأشخاص يجوا إنهم يدرسوا فيه أو يعملوا أبحاث، وإنما المكتبة لها دور كتير أكبر من إنها تكون زي نقول مستودع للكتب. إحنا صرنا 4 سنين عم نعمل هاي الندوة، وبلشت فكرتها بأنه إحنا كيف بنقدر نطور دور المكتبة لتكون بتساهم برفع من مهارات الأفراد، بالإضافة للمعرفة، بالإضافة لأنها تلبي احتياجات كتير من الفئات الموجودة في المجتمع المحلي. بأكثر من يعني اجتماعات مع أشخاص من الرواد اللي بيجوا عنا على المكتبة، بالإضافة لأشخاص ما بيجوا عنا على المكتبة، كانوا دايما عمالهم بيقولوا إنه إحنا يعني خلص بنقدر إنه نقرأ كتير إشياء أونلاين، إحنا مو محتاجين المكتبة، ولكن إحنا محتاجينها لخدمات إضافية. يعني إحنا محتاجين إذا بدنا نعمل أبحاث، إحنا محتاجين نتعلم كيف نعمل الأبحاث، إذا إحنا محتاجين إنه مهارات إضافية، إحنا محتاجين المكتبة توفر لنا بالإضافة للكتب توفر لنا هاي المهارات. وإحنا دايما بنقول إنه إحنا في الوطن العربي إحنا شعب غير قارئ، وطلع أكثر من نسبة على موضوع القراءة في الوطن العربي اللي بيحكي إنه 6 دقائق بنقرأ، أو عدد الكتب المنشورة باللغة العربية كتير قليلة مقارنة بالغرب. فقديه كان دور المكتبة أو دور المكتبة كتير مهم بإنها تأثر على القراءة، واللي هي بالآخر إحنا عمالنا بنحكي القراءة يعني باتجاه المعرفة، أو إنه القراءة بهدف كمان الانترتينمنت، أو اللي هو إنه إحنا يعني نستفيد من الموارد الموجودة في المكتبة للترفيه. الشغلة الإضافية اللي إحنا كمان حطيناها إنه قديش هو دور المكتبة، إنها لازم تكون محرك لتغير كتير في المجتمع، أو تساهم بحل مشكلات بيشوفها المجتمع مهمة كتير. تفرجنا على عدة نماذج، عدد من زملائي كمان راحوا وزاروا عدد من المكتبات خارج الوطن العربي، وشفنا قديش تغير مفهوم المكتبات للي احنا بنعرفه. صرنا نشوف انه مزبوط المكتبة موجودة لتساعد بالاشخاص اللي بدهم يقرأوا، اللي بدهم يعملوا ابحاث، بس كمان عم بيقدموا خدمات للمجتمع من خلال ايش الوظائف هلا مثلا الموجوده او رح تصير في المستقبل. فكتير منها بيعتمد على التكنولوجيا، فالمكتبه لها دور في انها تساهم في توفير مهارات التكنولوجيا الجديده حتى الاشخاص يقدروا يواكبوا المستقبل. مثل الجيمنج كمان، اللي هو كتير احنا منا عم نشوف قديش اهميه الجيمنج او الالعاب المبرمجه في انها تطور مهارات وبتساهم بالتعليم. يعني كتير كمان من التعليم هلا عماله بتحول لاساليب بالتكنولوجيا، وكلها هاي الخدمات عم بتقدمها المكتبات، بالإضافة لندوات ومحاضرات من خبراء لهم دخل في التحديات اللي موجودة. يعني إذا في تحدي مي فبصير في أبحاث ولقاءات مع أشخاص لهم بالمي، بالإضافة لكل مجالات خلينا نقول الثقافة، من موسيقى، من مسرح، من عدد مختلف من هاي البرامج اللي عمالها بتتقدم. فحبينا انه احنا نطور عنا مكتبتنا اللي موجوده في مؤسسه عبد الحميد شومان. هاي المكتبه صار لها 32 سنه، فقلنا طب احنا كمان بدنا يكون لنا دور في انه احنا نشبه أو إنه نساهم بإنه نغير بشكل مكتبتنا. ولما بلشنا نشتغل على هذا الأساس حسينا إنه طب ليه إحنا بس بدنا نشتغل على مكتبة مؤسسة عبد الحميد شومان، إنه ممكن نوفر هاي الخدمة كمان لكل المكتبيين اللي موجودين في الأردن وفي فلسطين، اللي إحنا كمان عنا جزء من الدعم تبع المؤسسة بيروح لمكتبات فلسطين. إذا إحنا قدرنا إنه نأثر بلو 1% من المكتبات اللي موجودة في الأردن والفلسطين، فممكن إنه يعني نساهم أو نأدي خدمة للمجتمع. هيك بلشت الفكرة. زملائي في المكتبة وعلى رأسهم زميلتنا أفنان العواملة عملوا كتير أبحاث وشافوا مين أفضل الأشخاص اللي بيقدروا إنهم يساعدونا إنه إحنا نتفرج على نماذج مختلفة من العالم. هاي السنة الرابعة إحنا معنا أشخاص من أمريكا ومن جنوب أفريقيا، بس قبلها كان عنا من ألمانيا، وكان كمان عنا من أمريكا، وكان عنا من الهند، وكان عنا من يعني من الجنوب، من دول مختلفة، لأنه ما بدنا نركز بس على دولة معينة أو جهة معينة، لأنه كل حدا عنده نموذج مختلف بيعتمدوا فيه كتير على حاجة المجتمع. فمنحب إنه نسمع من كل الأشخاص، واللي بيشبهنا منحس إنه ممكن إنه هذا نستفيد منه أو هذا النموذج نقدر نستفيد منه. عشان هيك كل سنة عمالنا بنجيب خبرة جديدة. السنة الماضية سمعنا كتير لملاحظاتكم ولملاحظات زملائنا اللي معنا في مختلف الدوائر. كانوا عم بيحكوا إنه إحنا في عنا مشكلة تحدي المساحة، فكيف بنقدر نتفرج على نماذج ناس كان عندهم مشكلة في المساحة، حتى إنه إحنا نقدر نستفيد من المساحة الصغيرة الموجودة عندنا، بس نقدر نأدي خدمة كتير كبيرة. كمان نفس الإشي سمعنا من المكتبات اللي بالجامعات إنه ما في إشي متخصص بالنسبة لنا، فحبينا إنه إحنا نشوف نماذج لهذا التخصص. فبنحب دائما نسمع منكم أي تعليق أو أي ملاحظات، حتى إنه إحنا نطور في خدمتنا لهذا خلينا نقول مجال المكتبات. وكمان من المدارس كانوا عمالهم بيقولوا إنه إحنا بدنا إشي متخصص للمدارس، لأنه المكتبة العامة بتختلف كمان شوي عن المدارس، فكان في كمان هاي السنة جبنا متخصصين في هذا المجال. وإحنا مقسوم عندنا الجدول بين ندوة اليوم بالإضافة لورشات متخصصة، يعني الجامعات لهم ورشة متخصصة، المكتبات العامة لهم ورشات متخصصة، الأطفال لهم ورشات متخصصة، وهذا كان كله بناء على التغذية الراجعة اللي كنا نسمعها منكم. فبحب أشكركم مرة تانية على حضوركم معنا، وبنحب دائما نسمع منكم. بحب أشكر زميلاتنا اللي قدرنا إنه يعني يشاركونا اليوم من أمريكا ومن جنوب أفريقيا، السيدة ميلاني هجنز والسيدة اسراء نوار من أمريكا والسيدة أكيلا جاييني من جنوب أفريقيا، حتى إنهم يساعدونا في إنه نتعرف على النماذج تبعتهم. وطبعا هن موجودين معنا كل أيام، فأي حدا عنده أي استفسار بحب يسأل أكثر هن موجودين معنا طول الوقت. شكرا لكم مرة ثانية، شكرا لزملائي اللي اجتهدوا خلال 6 ل 7 أشهر وهن عم بيحاولوا يرتبوا لهذا البرنامج، وشكرا لضيوفنا اللي موجودين معنا اليوم. شكرا جزيلا.
الحضور الكرام، سنبدأ الآن بعقد الجلسة الأولى من ندوة المكتبة. تحدثكم فيها السيدة ميلاني هجنز عن المكتبة كاستوديو، ويقدمها لكم السيد غالب مسعود مدير مكتبة عبد الحميد شومان.
الزملاء والزميلات، أسعد الله صباحكم. أهلا وسهلا بكم في هذا اللقاء السنوي المتجدد في ضيافة مؤسسة عبد الحميد شومان لحضور ندوة المكتبة الرابعة المكتبة كمحرك للتغيير، والتي أشكر من خلالها إدارة مؤسستنا التي لم تأل جهدا في استمرار دعمها لعقد الندوة وتطويرها سنويا، حيث شهد هذا العام إضافة نوعية تمثلت بزيادة أعداد المدعوين ودعوة مجموعة من الطلبة، وكذلك بإضافة ورشتين تدريبيتين للمكتبيين بتخصصاتهم المختلفة. متحدثتنا لهذه الجلسة هي السيدة ميلاني هجنز، المديرة التنفيذية لمكتبة ريتشلاند كارولاينا الجنوبية، الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية. حازت على جائزة المرأة المتميزة للعام 2018 في جنوب كارولاينا، وكانت على لائحة الشرف للنساء الأكثر تأثيراً أيضاً للعام 2018 بحسب تقرير إدارة الأعمال الإقليمية في جنوب كارولاينا. حازت على جائزة ستيفن موريسون فيجنري أورد لعام 2018، وهي عضو مجلس إدارة في عدة مؤسسات أكاديمية ومعرفية، ولها العديد من المشاركات الفاعلة في المؤتمرات العالمية. ستحدثنا محاضرتنا اليوم عن المكتبة كاستوديو، وهو مفهوم مرتبط بالدور الجديد للمكتبات تجاه المجتمع، حيث تكون المكتبة شريك حيوي وعامل أساسي في مساعدة المجتمع على حل مشاكله وخلق فرص تعليمية للأفراد لمواجهة تحدياتهم الاجتماعية والاقتصادية، وأبعد أن تكون المكتبة هي مساحة للإبداع. ندعو السيدة ميلاني لتقديم محاضرتها، فلتتفضل.
Good morning. I'm thrilled to be here. I want to thank the Showman Foundation for having me here. I really appreciate it. It's been a long time coming that we've been planning for me to be at this conference, and I'm glad to be here with your 4th year, which is very impressive. Thanks to Afnan and all the people who put this together. It's a lot of work to put on something this big and this important, and I appreciate all of your hospitality. So, we're going to jump in. I am going to speak as slowly as possible. I am from the United States, but I'm also from South Carolina, which is the southern part of the United States, which means I have a different accent than most of my colleagues in the United States. So I hope that it translates okay as I'm speaking. South Carolina is on the eastern coast of the United States. The city that I am from, Columbia, South Carolina, is only 400,000 people. The state of South Carolina only has 4 million people, which is the size of Amman. So we are a small state. Population is both rural, so we have agriculture, we have urban and suburban populations within the county that we serve. I've been the director of the Richland Library System for 10 years now. When I came to Richland Library in 2009, this is our beautiful main library. We were already a well-funded, award-winning library system, but I realized that we weren't providing the depth and level of services that we could be for the community. And I realized that the way that my team, my staff, thought about the library was a place to warehouse materials and books. So we really had to think differently about who we are and how we would serve the community. Our main library is in the urban center of Columbia, but we also have 12 library branches throughout the 700 square miles of the community that I serve. When I started talking to my team about library transformation, I started asking them some key questions. Because I wanted them to think differently about what a library could do and who a library served, these are the questions that we started pondering, thinking about. And they really got at the strategy of who we were and what we could do for the community. So the first one, what are the learning needs of our communities? Positioning ourselves so that we weren't just a place of books, we were a place of learning. How do we differentiate ourselves from other organizations? So what is our culture as a library? How do we behave when we serve our customers? You may call them members, we call them customers. How do we behave when we serve our customers? And then lastly, how do we design services that meet the needs of the target customers? And if you're with a public library and are going to be with me in the workshop on Tuesday, we're going to talk a lot more about how to design services for our target customers. For Columbia, South Carolina, when you start to look at the library in context of the city and its residents, these were the facts and questions that we had at our disposal. We know that in South Carolina, and actually in the United States as a whole, that by 2020, half of all workers, 2020 is next year, so half of all people who work in the States and in South Carolina will be independent freelancers, which means they will own their own business or they'll be working for multiple companies as consultants. That is a fact that impacts the way that our community is built and the way that we design services. The other facts that we had and knew that the library could have an impact on are these indicators of competitive communities. Just like Amman and just like cities all over the world, we are competing for talent. We want to attract and retain talented, smart people. We want people that go to our universities in our cities to stay after they graduate. And we know that we are in a knowledge economy. So these indicators of success is how the city that I am from measures how good of a job we are doing in being a sustainable and resilient community. So we're looking for talent, who's coming, who's staying, innovation, entrepreneurial efforts, how many businesses are started. And then the last one is really important, livability. How does the library contribute to making the city of Columbia more livable and more attractive to people? So when I look at these facts and this data, I see multiple ways that the library can impact all of these indicators. In 2015, the United Nations released its Sustainable Development Goals, and shortly after that, the Public Library Association adopted these goals as goals for libraries. Every one of these 17 goals, the Public Library Association felt that libraries had the opportunity and the capacity to impact positively in their community. The Rockefeller Foundation has an initiative called 100 Resilient Cities, of which Amman is one. And when this is built around those same United Nations goals. And when I was reading this Vision for Resilient Amman, preparing to come here, I was struck by these words, because you'll see that as I talk about the transformation of my library, words matter, and the way we talk about ourselves matter, and the way we behave matters. And I love these words because I think they also apply to how we want our public libraries, actually all of our libraries, school libraries, academic libraries, to function. This is a sampling of the goals from the Resilient Amman Plan. And as I reviewed these in preparation for my talk today, I was struck again by there are so many of these goals that public libraries have the ability and capacity and the opportunity to impact. For example, goal number 1, an integrated smart city, connect the city digitally. You heard Valentina say how important technology and connection was to the future of your city. That is true, as well as goal 3, an innovative and prosperous city, you can see B, support entrepreneurs, startups and incubators. That is what's going to make Amman a resilient city, and empower women. There's a goal in the Resilient Cities Plan to have 25% of women in the workforce within the next 5 years for Amman. So how do libraries play a role? What's the possibility there of libraries playing a role in making that happen? So I want to go back to my library story because I love that the conference name is Libraries as Engine of Change, because there are a couple of things I want to make sure that I point out. It's going to look like my library has had a dramatic transformation, and it has, but it's not all about the physical space. To me, and the question I always get when I do this presentation, it's about how did you get the staff to support the vision? How did you build the culture that would make all of this happen? So I'm going to show you some beautiful pictures of lovely library spaces, but I want you to know that none of that matters if the staff are not on board, okay? So this is what my library used to look like. I always joke with my staff that you could not tell we were in a city because the bookshelves were so high, you couldn't see out the windows. And so one of the first things we did in the renovation was take the shelves down so that the people, not the books, had the best view of the city. But before we started all of this transformation, we started looking internally at ourselves and at our team. And I love this quote from FedEx because I don't think that a library renovation is enough. You have to know who you are as an organization first, and then act like it, and then you can demonstrate it to the community. So there is a process involved. We do a lot of work around our strategic plan, and I just wanted to show you this to remind myself to tell you that it's available on our library website at richlandlibrary.com. You can download this. This is it. It's 2 pages. Very short, but our goals have to do with transforming educational outcomes for youth. That is one of the library's stated goals. One of our goals at the library is to help create a strong and resilient economy. We own that. We believe that that is the public library's job to help create a strong and resilient economy. This is the part that I was saying in the beginning. When you ask what are the learning needs of the community, you have a strategic plan. But when you ask the question, how are we different from every other organization that serves people in the community, this is the way that my library differentiates itself. We promise to be these things, these words: welcoming, caring, committed to the best, helpful, fresh and fun in everything that we do. And you're going to see examples of that. So before we renovated our buildings, before we had any money to make improvements to the facilities, this is where we started. How do we get our staff to do these things? And we like to use those words of welcoming, caring, committed to the best, helpful, fresh and fun. See, I have them memorized. I don't have to look at them on a screen. We use those words to define all of these things: who we hire, our people, the place, where are we reaching out to people, programs, what services are we offering, process. What is the process for signing up for a computer or reserving a meeting room? Who are our partners? And thank you. And what kind of promotions? I know we have some really fabulous PR people at the library here in Showman. What do the promotions look like? So when we started this work, we really started to train our staff on what makes a good customer experience. And basically, I can sum it up in 2 words, 2 phrases. You don't make your customers or your members feel stupid. You never make them feel like the question that they are asking is not one that they should be asking. And you make them feel smart just for coming into the library. The second tenet of being good at customer experience and providing this great culture among staff is that an experience designed for every customer or every member is not going to satisfy anyone. You really have to know who you're designing a service for in order to get all of the aspects of it correct. So these two things drive the way that we think about our interactions with our customers. To make this really come home for our team, we picked this group of staff that represent those welcoming, caring, all of those qualities. And these were our library brand champions, is what we called them. And we had this group of staff starting to recognize and acknowledge their colleagues when they were acting in a way that was really honoring the customer. Another thing that we did in order to get our staff ready for this transition was we encouraged our staff to go to each other's programs as customers, because we provide a lot of services and classes, but when you're working, you don't get to go see what your colleagues are doing. So we really encourage them to go and support each other and learn from each other. We also believe that play is an integral part of building a great team. And so you can see in the picture up here, this is the team that orders all of our books. This is collection management. This is them taking a play break and coloring together, because we want to build a culture that is fresh and fun. So that means we have to act that way behind the scenes as well. Each department has one of these play kits that has paints and remote control cars in it and blocks and Play-Doh for the staff to use to take a break and to have fun together. We also provide a fund so our staff can do team building as well. And so you can see this is a group of our staff that work on the front lines going bowling together. Lastly, we believe that you bring your whole self to work, that you have personal identities and personal passions, and we try to honor those and make that a part of your workday. These photos are of some of my outreach team taking water and food and diapers and supplies to families that were devastated by a flood in our community in 2015. We used our library vehicles to take these materials out and partnered with organizations to get the water and things donated. And this is our staff going out and making these really vital connections with the community. We also will go to restaurants during happy hour and show people how to download materials. So place doesn't always mean in the library for us. Obviously, place is also out in the community. And we had this Learn Freely bus, which is a mobile classroom that we take out to do everything from basic digital literacy classes to creating a after-school homework environment so 12 kids can get on the bus at the same time and get tutoring and help with their homework. And we do simple, fun things. This is another place-based activity. We have a book trike that we take out onto the street to festivals and events, and we actually give books away for free on the book trike. And our foundation paid for the book trike. This is a way that we turned our parking lot into a park for an afternoon by rolling out AstroTurf, some fake grass out on the parking lot, setting up a stage and having a band. So when you're thinking about something that you can do without a physical library that actually accommodates these things, there are ways that you can create place in spaces that you never imagined. This is one of our nursing mothers' rooms. We have quiet rooms for moms and their babies so they can attend to their babies in private. And we also try to make sure, and you'll see more of this in just a minute, we try to make sure that each location reflects the community it serves. This is one of our branch renovations that we did years ago, and we collected historic photographs from the community, and we had them vote on which ones they liked the best, and then we had them printed so that they're all on the end caps. And this woman is standing beside a picture of her grandmother, who was a teacher in an all-black school in that community. Process was one of those other P words that I mentioned, and what we take exceptional care of is our new hires, people who are just on board as staff. We make sure that their first year is one where we teach them that focusing on people is more important than focusing on process. And so we make sure that everyone is oriented in the same way. And the process of getting a library card, I could give a whole seminar about how I think libraries really don't take advantage of the new customers or new members that come in and how to treat them really well. But let's just say that what we do now is we make getting a library card a congratulatory experience. We make people feel smart for coming into the library, and we celebrate that moment when they get a library card. Our partnerships and programs have changed tremendously, and this was, again, before any renovations. This is a little girl conducting the symphony. So the symphony will come in and set up and let children conduct them. We have become an outlet for almost every other cultural organization, museum, symphony, the ballet, in the community to test out new ideas. So the ballet, when they have a new performance, they will come into the library and do a piece of the performance in the library for families to enjoy. If you have young children, you know sometimes it's hard to take them to the ballet and expect them to sit for 2 hours. This is a way that you can get introduced to the other cultural events in the community. And because our main library has escalators in it, the ballerinas do a parade through the library, and usually they are followed by a whole group of children. So all the work that I'm showing you to this point were things that we did before we made any improvements to our physical buildings. And I can't stress that enough, that if you're going to be an engine of change, you have to have your team on board with that concept. So in 2013, we went to the voters and we asked them to vote in the affirmative, in the positive, to fund their libraries, and they did. So we received about $60 million to make improvements to every single one of our libraries. And again, where we started with this idea, this concept, is what are we doing in our spaces now that they were never meant to support? And your library is 30 years old, so think about the difference between now and 30 years ago. What people want to do in your space is not necessarily what it was designed to support. So here, if you sew, you know that you do not sit on the floor and use a sewing machine. That is not the way that it works. But we were having sewing classes without the right space to have these in. We were doing basket weaving in makeshift studios, dance classes that we had to do outside, which is still fun, but outside because it was too loud for inside the library. And then children's programming, we were doing a lot of it just out in the library because we had no meeting rooms or spaces that would accommodate children's programming. And then teen programming as well. This is a homework support group, and you can tell by looking at the picture, there's a stack of chairs in the corner, and these tables can break down and set up and be reconfigured, but none of it was really designed to support the kinds of programs and classes that my team was already doing and wanted to do more of. So that's when we started coming up with the idea of library as studio. Before we hired any architect, we wanted to be able to clearly articulate what it was that we wanted our libraries to be and how we wanted them to perform and behave in the community. And if you go to learncreateshare.vision, you can download the entire framework that we used there. We have shared that widely because I think it's important for people to see case studies of other places that have had some success and models that you can follow. So Library as Studio its essence is we want libraries to be places where you can take risk, where you can try new things, where you can make a mess, where you can collaborate, where you can think deeply about a topic, where you can learn, create, and share. And learn, create, and share has become our mission statement for our public library. So again, this is where we started, but this is where we wanted to go, which was, how does it feel to be in this space? What do you want to accomplish in the library space? And what are the tools and conditions that you need to support that? So this is the way we started thinking about redesigning all of our physical spaces. So when we hired our architects, we made sure that they understood the vision that we had. That was part of their interview process. We gave them the vision and had them react to it. And again, at the heart of the model is that we are designing spaces to meet the needs of customers. We were trying not to design libraries in the very conventional way, which is you have a children's department over here that does this, one activity, you have a research department over here who does something else, and maybe you have a staff that serves teams. We were trying to think of it as a more holistic approach. And remember, we have 13 locations, and every neighborhood has different needs. So we needed a model that could be flexible. We put together a team of staff, cross-departmental staff, to really start thinking about what made each location different, what made each neighborhood different, what were their needs, what were they trying to accomplish. We started storyboarding, using pictures and drawing to really envision the future of our spaces and services. We used a lot of Post-it notes. And we really focused on changing the way that we work. So it wasn't just how do we need our space to function, how do we need our staff to function? And I love this one because this was an idea that came out of a workshop that if we're gonna have these spaces for entrepreneurs and places for people to make messes, we need a studio activator. We need someone who knows how to activate these spaces. And we have several actual studios in our library now, and several people who actually have that job. And you're seeing Jordan, who is showing one of our customers how to operate the saw in our workshop. So I know this is a lot of words on a page, but I wanted to show you this slide because this is one architect's interpretation of let's see, how to do it here? All of these are activities. That's all, excuse me, those activities are what the community wanted to be able to do in the space. Pardon me. So everything from spending time with my children to sewing to having a book group discussion are all in the activities list. Then on this side, it is how does that line up with the library as studio model? What does that space need to feel like? What does it need to do? And then what are the primary focus of that branch? And this particular branch library had education and growth, which is children's services, arts and literature. This is a community that reads and reads a lot. And then teen services as the primary focus points of that branch. They started putting these ideas on paper, the architects did, and really starting to think about how the spaces would interact. And this is one of the few projects that we did which was actually new construction. Most of our libraries were renovation, taking an existing library and making it better. This one was new, and this is our Ballantyne branch. So this is what it actually looks like on the site. This is in a suburban community that has a lake, lots of fishing and outdoor activities. So this building is situated on 8 wooded acres because we wanted to keep it feeling natural like the surrounding community. You can see a little bit in this picture how it looks out into the woods. To the left, where the green panels are, is a teen area, and in the very back right corner is an art studio that looks out over the woods. This is the children's area. It's a very young community, so children's education and growth was extremely important to highlight in this branch. And we wanted it to have a big community feel, so you can see that outside, people are sitting at benches, a lot of outdoor seating. The weather in South Carolina is about the same as it is here, except less humid. So people do actually sit outside about 2 months of the year. And this is just a picture of children at an eclipse viewing party. This is another branch that we renovated in a different kind of urban environment where there were a lot of houses that have been renovated. A lot of young families live in this neighborhood. And so we added this really fun kind of whimsical looking house structure to the front of this was the existing building. All of this was the existing building. And this library has at its focus also teen services. So this is an area for teens. And you can see that you can write on the walls. There are power cords that drop from the ceiling. If you wanted to do a craft project, you can just pull them down and plug in soldering irons or hot glue guns. This is a craft space just for small children. And this is a space where moms and their children can crawl on the floor and play. Again, a very young neighborhood, lots of children there. This is one of our branch libraries that is in a less affluent community. A high percentage of people do not have internet access at home in this neighborhood. And so we really focused in this neighborhood on business and careers. We have a space that is just for video conferencing in this particular library. And we have a recording studio, so teens and adults can come record music or do school projects in a space that was designed for them. One of our libraries, this is also a renovation, is in what we call the International Corridor, and it is the most diverse part of our community. And it was really important for the design of this library to reflect the communities that people represent. And so, and this is the children's play space, and you can see that we have this silhouette of a town on the wall. It could be any town or any city. It wasn't meant to reference just one particular city. And then you can see on the floor, if you can see that, those are maps of different cities that represent where the community is from. Because it's the International Corridor, this is the neighborhood library that has a teaching kitchen in it. So we have a culinary program here because we wanted to highlight the cultures that exist in this neighborhood, and food is certainly something that brings people together. And then lastly, I wanted to show you this library because this is a neighborhood that is predominantly African American, very poor, and one that did not have a library branch in it. This building is a convenience store, a discount store that existed and was vacant. And we took it and renovated it and turned it into this. It just opened about 10 months ago, and it is really focused on providing business and career support to the community. Again, we use photos from the community to create this beautiful piece of art in the library. Lots of technology adaptation, computers that people can use for homework and business startup, and a beautiful space for children. Teen programming is after-school programming is really important in this community as well. If you want to see more pictures of our libraries, you can go to buildingyourlibrary.com. All of the pictures are there. You can do virtual tours of all of the branches. I wanted to end with a picture of Main Library because even though this building is not much older than your library, it was built in 1993, again, so much has changed about the way that people want to use libraries and what our community needs. And this is just a snapshot of pictures from inside the Main Library. The top left is our little theater space where we have poetry readings and author visits and movies. On the right is our teen center, and that art was created by teens in the community. The bottom, oops, sorry, let me go back. The bottom left is our family career studio. This is a play space for kids that also has computers for adults. So working parents can come in with their children, or parents who are looking for a job can come in with their children, let their children play in an enclosed area while they're looking. And then another shot of the space for teens. One of the things that we have done is create space in our buildings for the community to take ownership of. In our main library, we went from 8 meeting rooms to 38 meeting rooms in the renovation, of all shapes and sizes. And one of the things we do is have an artist in residence all the time. There's an application process for different artists to come in. They set up shop in our library, they use the space for free, and they provide services to the community. This was our first artist in residence, Mario, and then this guy, Charles, he's a singer-songwriter. So some of our artists in residence aren't visual artists, they can be performers. The one we have now designs costumes for theaters. And lastly, I know this was of interest in talking to the Showman library staff, is how do you attract young people to your library? And I think one of the things we've had the biggest success, and remember I started this talk talking about attracting and retaining talent. We do an event called Overdue. It is an after-hours party for 21 and up. And we open up our library at 7 o'clock on a Friday night, and we stay open until midnight. And we have food and drink and games. And it is one of the best. We have 500 people attend almost every time, and they're all way younger than I am. Most of them are millennials. We have virtual reality that they can test out while they're walking around with a drink and piece of pizza in their hand. You can see that we also do collaborative drawing activities. These are some young people actually painting the windows at the library with some paint that I hope will actually come off when we try to wash it. And then you can see that we set up an arcade on those nights as well, and people play pinball while they're in the library and other video games. Like I said, 500 young people come to this event. It is a great way to expose the young people in our community to the services that we provide. I'm going to close with a couple of things. This is the Pew Research Center in 2017. You know, their research demonstrated that millennials do use their public libraries, but you have to be welcoming to them and provide services that they like. So because this is the Libraries as Engines of Change conference, I want to just leave you with some thoughts about that, because I think that although we have gone a transformation in our physical spaces, it's really the transformation of the culture of the staff that has been the most important. And I wanted to show you that to remind myself that everyone handles change differently. Some people, like myself, can endure a lot of ambiguity. I'm okay not knowing. I'm okay not knowing what's coming next. I have found that my staff are not all that way. There are some of my staff that are very stressed and very anxious when they don't know what their job is going to be, or they can't envision the future. So it's something to keep in mind and learn how to support those staff who are having stress with change. And we do that by helping each other. I think this picture is so funny because these men are all cheering this guy on, saying, yes, pick up more weight. That's not the way we think about our colleagues. We want to help them. We don't want to ever see any of our colleagues struggling, and that's the way we support each other in our library. When we were just starting the renovations, we put up this image of a roller coaster, and we asked each team member to take a piece of paper or a marker and mark on the roller coaster where you are in this journey of change. Some people felt upside down. Some people felt like they were just coming down the hill and coasting, like everything was fine. Again, everybody handles change differently, and you have to be sensitive to that, especially when you are undergoing major renovations or even just service design changes. And I can't say this enough, celebrating success is something that some of us have a hard time doing. When I'm always focused on the next accomplishment, it's hard for me to stop and take a moment to celebrate where we've come. And so we actually build in these celebrations 2 major projects. This was me and some members of my team taking time at a branch library to paint pictures after we had just finished a large project, just having fun together, not talking about work, doing something celebratory was really important. And I thought this was odd when my staff told me that part of change is grieving the past. Part of change is letting go of what used to be. And again, I've already admitted to you that I'm okay moving forward and not knowing, but a lot of my team was sad about the way that we were changing. And so was the community. There were community members that were not happy that we were maybe moving away from having mostly books to other things. So it was learning how to mitigate those challenges. Making room for the future is something that is really important. And I have this example here. This is one of our storytime areas for children in our branches. And I had this really complete vision that I wanted children to feel like they were sitting on the inside of a flower when they were having story time. And this room, what you can't tell, is open in the back. There's no doors. You just kind of come into it. And my staff was terrified. They said, how are we going to keep the children in the space if they can just walk out? And you can see there's only one child who's looking the opposite way. And I think it's because we were taking a picture. But you have to trust that someone has a vision and that they know how to make it happen, just like with the studios. Lastly, I wanted to show this picture because we believe in prototyping, trying something in an inexpensive, small way before you spend a lot of money to make something happen. And this, you can see, is one of our branches before renovation. We bought some IKEA furniture, and I passed IKEA on the way here, so I know that you can get this furniture here, and tested what it would look like to have a smaller service desk, a smaller reference desk, before we took a sledgehammer to the big desk and really renovated the way that it looked and felt. And this is what our desks look like now. They are probably a quarter of the size they used to be. We actually prototyped these in some cheap wood before we built them in the final product, just to make sure they worked for the staff. And I will end with this, because no engine of change, library or other, can work without empathy. You have to have deep caring and commitment to the community you serve, to your colleagues, to the city that you're in, and you have to be committed to making those relationships positive and strong to have any change that is significant and relevant to your community. So with that, I thank you for allowing me to talk to you this morning, and if we have time for questions, I will certainly take them. Thank you very much.
شكرا سيدة ميلاني. نشكر على المحاضرة القيمة اللي أشارت إلى الدور الجديد في المكتبات وتركيزها في البداية على دور الموظفين والصفات اللي يتحلى فيها الموظف في المكتبة. رح نتيح الأسئلة الآن. أي شخص بده أو من الزملاء حاب يحكي يعرفنا عن نفسه في البداية. معنا ربع ساعة فقط لا غير، أقصى وقت. في حد حاب يسأل؟ وين الميكروفون بس؟ دكتور ربحي، دكتور نضال، دكتور تفضل.
My name is Rabhi Alayan. I am a full professor at the University of Jordan. By the way, I graduated from School of Library and Information Science at the University of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So you are welcome to Jordan, and thank you for your successful presentation, and I hope you will spend nice days in Jordan. Okay. You mentioned in your strategic plan, the item number 5 was fresh and fun. This is new in our libraries, so we need more details about this item. The second question, from my point of view, you didn't mention anything about the handicapped people and how do you deal with them, what library services you offer for them. And thank you again for your presentation. Thank you.
Yes.
I don't have to keep this on my head. Can I use this mic? Okay. Okay. Thank you for your question. So fresh and fun. Wow. You picked the hardest one to describe of everything that is on that list, because it means a little bit of something different to everyone. The way that we think about it is that we want people to be surprised. So you saw the picture of the book trike. You would come across that at a festival and be surprised that the library was there in that way, represented in that way. Sometimes we have artists that do artwork on the windows of the library. Sometimes we have artists in the library doing paintings as people are walking by. And really it comes down to just making them feel like every time that they come, they're going to be delighted that something different is going to happen. Everyone doesn't have the personality to be fresh and fun, so we don't expect that every staff member is above and beyond, but we do want to provide what my team calls these moments of delight for people. So I hope that answers that part of the question. As it goes with working with people with disabilities, well, in the United States, first and foremost, there are regulations that require libraries to be designed in a way that are universally accessible. So the physical design is one that works for everyone of every ability. However, programs and services are very customized to each neighborhood. So we do have a really wonderful relationship with our state library who provides services for the blind. So we can borrow things from them, recorded books from them, any book that any person that has vision challenges wants to read, we can have it recorded for them, which is a really nice service. We do a lot of work with children with autism and sensory disorders. So one of the branches actually has a sensory room in it. It's a beautiful small room that you can go in, and there are calming mechanisms from sounds and light and different equipment that parents can use with their child to calm them down. So we focus a lot on children with sensory disorders. And lastly, another big focus in service for us is children with dyslexia. So children who have a learning disability, we actually have staff that are trained in a multisensory method of teaching children to read. And we provide free tutoring for kids who are struggling readers. And we also provide materials that parents and caregivers can take home that are very expensive, materials that you would not as an individual be able to afford, but that you can check them out from the library and take them home to practice reading. So those are, we focus on blind, sensory disorders, and dyslexia are our three main service areas.
تفضل دكتور نضال.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بداية اسمحوا لي أن أتقدم بجزيل الشكر وعظيم الامتنان إلى مؤسسة عبد الحميد شومان على هذه التظاهرة الثقافية، وأرحب بك أجمل ترحيب. هنا عندي مداخلة بسيطة. أنا اسمي الأستاذ الدكتور نضال الأحمد العياصرة، مدير عام المكتبة الوطنية. بحب يعني من خلال ما لاحظت من عرضك الجيد بأن المكتبة أصبحت تخدم المجتمع وتقدم برامج. إحنا عندنا الآن في المكتبة الوطنية أيضا حاولنا أن نخرج من الدور التقليدي للمكتبة الوطنية، فقمنا بالعديد من النشاطات، خليني أعتبرها أو الأعمال التي كانت لا تقوم بها سابقا، مثل على سبيل المثال للحصر المعرض أو النادي القرائي الصيفي للأطفال، وكان لمدة شهرين، ليس فقط القراءة ولكن الألعاب وغير ذلك. أيضا حملة التبرع بالدم، توزيع الكتب المجانية، وآخر إشي كان اللي هو في المدرج الروماني الكتاب المجاني. كثير من النشاطات، وأيضا حملة كتابك صديقك اللي بتقوم فيها المكتبة بتوزيع هذه الكتب من نهاية عام 2012 لغاية الآن. لابد بصراحة أن نقوم بعملية التشبيك مع المؤسسات. سؤالي هون ست الفاضلة، باعتقادي بأنكم في الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية وقعتوا على اتفاقية مراكش، وإحنا كمملكة أردنية الهاشمية نعتبر الدولة العربية الثالثة التي وقعت على هذه الاتفاقية، وصدر فيها إرادة ملكية سامية في الأردن. وهذه الاتفاقية تتيح عملية تحويل كل مصادر المعلومات من الشكل المطبوع إلى الشكل المقروء بالنسبة لطريقة بريل أو ليبتكون. هل أنتم الآن تستطيعوا تستخدموا هذه الاتفاقية من أجل تقديم الخدمة للمعاقين بصريا وضعاف البصر؟ يعني الآن هل أنتم تستخدموا هذه الاتفاقية ولا لا؟ وشكرا.
Thank you. I'm not familiar with it, so one of the great things about coming to conferences such as this, I learn so much that I can take back, and so we will definitely be looking into those services, especially as it relates to people that are visually impaired. So thank you for that. And congratulations on the work that you're doing. Summer learning is so critically important, and I don't know what the data in Arabic countries or in Jordan or Amman is, but I know that in the States, children who are economically disadvantaged go back to school sometimes 6 months behind their peers because they haven't had rich learning experiences during the summertime months. So congratulations on supporting that, and I hope that all public libraries are seeing themselves as champions of summer learning.
في أسئلة في أي منطقة هون؟ في حد بحب؟ تفضل دكتور.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. First of all, I would like to thank Showman Public Library for this workshop, and I would like to thank you for this lecture. My note first for Showman Library about the title of this workshop. The title says that library as an engine of change. It should be, in my opinion, the library is an engine of change because it's a very important engine. It's comprehensive engine to change the society, to change the education, to change the political materials in the society. So this is the first. For you, excuse me for one question. You offered 3 questions in the beginning of the lecture, but excuse me for that, you didn't answer about the 3 questions to me, how the public library meets the needs of the users. You didn't mention that. This one. The second one, you mentioned that also that the place not only for the librarians, only the library, it's everywhere. I say that everywhere. In the school, in the house. You didn't mention the house. So thank you very much for your lecture, and thank you very much for you, and welcome in Jordan.
Yes, thank you.
احنا بالنسبة كمكتبة أو كمؤسسة اخترنا هذا العنوان، هي المكتبة كمحرك للتغيير. فعلا أي تغيير بدك تحدثه في المجتمع بداية لازم يكون من المكتبة، لكن لغويا بالضبط ما بدي أحكم لغويا، ممكن نتناقش فيها خارجيا إنه كان من هو العنوان الأدق كمحرك. مسز ميلاني بدك تجاوبي السؤال إذا كان بطرف الدكتور.
So I hope that what came out in my talk was that the library is a critical partner in any change that needs to happen in a community. Sometimes, because we are embedded in neighborhoods, we see needs before government does, or we see needs before other agencies do. Unemployment, for an example. When I came to Richland Library in 2009, unemployment in my city was at 14%. And every single day, people were coming into the library saying, I need a job, I need help finding a job. And so we tailored our services to support that community. We're not the only people in the city who do that work. There are other people in the city who help people find employment and train them for employment. But now we are critical partners in that work. We have a business and career center with probably 20 strong partners that provide free services in the library on a regular basis. So I agree with you that library is not the only engine of change. We are a critical partner. We are probably a central piece of that engine, and sometimes we can lead and other times we need to just follow and be a partner. So I understand what you're saying and I agree with that. As it relates to libraries outside of the physical building and how we think of library beyond, we do that in several ways in my library system. We do provide a service that provides online tutoring, so you can access the library from home and get free tutoring and free homework support from your house. We actually have some programs that are funded by grants where we actually give newborn babies their first collection of books because we do believe that books in the home is critically important. So we have several different things that we do that do not require people to come to us. We want to be where people are.
محمد الجغبير، مؤسسة عبد الحميد شومان. أول شيء التغيير كان رائع بالنسبة لي كشخص بيشتغل بالمكتبة، بس كيف التغيير اللي صار أثر على تجربة الرواد أو الناس اللي بيزوروا المكتبة؟ بحب نعرف أكثر عن كيف تأثروا الناس بعد هذا التغيير.
Well, what you just asked, that is why we do everything that we do. We try not to do anything that is not based in customer need or customer impact. So I can give a few examples. But one of the things that you'll hear me talk about if you come to my workshop on Tuesday is that we believe interviewing and talking to customers is critically important to making sure that you're spending your time doing the right things. So we try to gather data directly from people who need the service, so we don't design something that doesn't meet their needs. So that's critically important. We try to collect success stories of our customers. So if a customer comes in and uses the services of our Business and Career Center, we ask them to tell us when they get a job. Please let us know when you've been successfully employed, because we want to hear those stories and know how many people we've helped. One of the things that we're doing now that we're collecting a lot of data about has to do with race relations. In the South, and especially in the state that I live in, it was built on a foundation of slavery, and we still have lots of tension between white and African American community members. So one of the things that the library has done and led the charge on is we are now trained facilitators on how to have conversations about race. So we will bring people together to talk about what it means to be white in this community, what it means to be black in this community. And to date, we've had 700 people go through the facilitated conversations. And the data and outcomes we get from that are remarkable. So we hear people say, I've never sat across the table from someone of another race and had this conversation before. It's going to make me act and feel differently going forward. So we really do believe in collecting those stories and outcomes because we want to make sure that everything we're doing has an impact on the community and the individual customers. And I hope that answered your question.
تفضل. آخر سؤال أو قبل الأخير، بس ما يكون يعني أسئلة في صلب الموضوع. الأخ اللي هون هي هون سمح وقت الله.
حلو. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أنا اسمي سلطان الشياب من مكتبة جامعة العلوم والتكنولوجيا الأردنية. بداية الشكر لمؤسسة عبد الحميد شومان التي أبدعت حقيقة هذا الصباح، والشكر الجزيل للسادة الحضور الذين لبوا لحضور مثل هذه الندوات. السيد الفاضل حكت أواخر المحاضرة إنه عندما يكون هناك رؤية يكون هناك تغيير. أتمنى من مدراء المكتبات وأصحاب القرار في هذا الوطن الحبيب أن يكون لديهم رؤية أكثر حتى يكون هناك تغيير، لأنه مع الاحترام الشديد المكتبة في هذا الوطن ليست لديها قدرة على إحداث التغيير في المجتمع. هاي واحد. مع العلم أن العديد من المدراء المكتبات هم خريجين الجامعات والمعاهد الأمريكية. هاي واحدة. اثنين، حقيقة أبدعت السيدة إلين بهذا العرض الرائع، وهي بمثابة يعني أنا اللي شفته بمثابة وزارة تنمية اجتماعية، لا بل أفضل من بعض وزارات التنمية الاجتماعية في الوطن. شكرا جزيلا وأتمنى لكم يوما سعيدا. شكرا.
So if I may respond to that, I think that we underestimate the vision of the people who work on the front line of the library, the people who are not managers, but that interact with customers and members every single day. And I think that change doesn't always come from the top down. Sometimes change comes from the bottom up. And so one of the things that we had to do and be very intentional about was letting the frontline staff know that they were empowered and that they could make decisions. And so a part of the change has to be getting more voices at the table and not relying solely on management to be the visionaries. We hope that managers are, but sometimes that vision can come from somewhere else. So I understand your concern and what you're saying. Yes, I also want to just say that when I spoke in Sharjah a couple of years ago, the Jordanian librarians that came up to me after my presentation were the most eager and accepting of what I had to say. So I think there is a will to create a new vision. And lastly, the social work piece of what you said comes up a lot, not just when I speak internationally, but even in the United States. Even in my own state of South Carolina, people will say, why is the library doing social work? And I say, if not the library, who? If we don't step up and meet the needs of communities, who is going to do that work? And the wonderful thing about our libraries is that we are welcoming. We don't pass judgment about the questions that you ask. We don't judge you if you need help, or you need a meal, or you need to know how to get a job. We treat you with respect. And I believe that that is sometimes in the States different when at a public library than when you go to maybe a social services organization. So this idea that libraries are doing social work, and I'll end with this, is that I believe that is why Andrew Carnegie, funded and started the concept of public libraries, because he grew up poor and without resources, and he saw libraries as a portal for people who wanted to make their lives better. And I think the social work that we do in libraries today is just an extension of that vision.
يعطيكم العافية جميعا. ورد أنا وسام موسى معلم لغة عربية وأمين مكتبة مدرسية. سؤالي عن نقطة أن تصبح المكتبة مكانا لتجارب جديدة، هل الهدف هو من خلال هذه التجارب توجيه الطلاب أو الرواد إلى قراءة الكتب، أم أن تصبح التجربة هاي الجديدة هي هدفا جديدا أو خدمة تقدمها المكتبة؟ شكرا.
Yes. So I want to make this very clear. I love books. I love reading. I know that sometimes when I do presentations and people see that maybe we have shifted our focus from books and materials to other services, that people may come away thinking that that's not something we support. I think that goes without saying. We think it's incredibly important that children go to school ready to read, ready to learn, and that their parents and caregivers know how to support them. And there's no possible way that any child, no matter how much money their family may have, can have access to the world of children's books that a public library can offer. So and full confession, I'm a children's librarian. I started as a children's librarian. So that drives everything I do. That thought of how do we make sure that children can read and they're strong readers and strong learners. But I do think that, and I have 3 children of my own, they are all very different. One is dyslexic, so one struggles to read, and they all learn in very different ways. And I believe that it is a library's job to be about helping people learn. And if you learn through doing or with your hands or making, then we want to provide that opportunity for you. If you learn through reading, you're golden. We have all the books that you need. If you learn through listening to others and meeting with others, we provide those opportunities. So I agree with you 100% that reading is still core, but we have to acknowledge that there are other ways that people learn and get information and be flexible enough to provide those experiences for people.
شكرا. نعتذر ضيق الوقت، ممكن يعني خلال الاستراحة تسألوا أسئلتكم. عندنا استراحة إن سمحت ربع ساعة، نرجو الالتزام بالوقت حتى نبدأ الجلسة الثانية. شكرا لكم وشكرا لاستماعكم.